My beloved child, there is a trembling rising from within the earth, a wave not yet visible to the eye, but already spreading through the unseen fabric of your life. It does not come as a random sound, nor as a passing breeze that vanishes, but as a steady invitation, echoing from eternity. You imagine that I am distant, that I am present, only when you kneel in fervent prayer. Yet in truth, I am here in the very breath of your everyday life, in the smallest movements you think meaningless. It is in these details that seem trivial that I sow the seeds of transformation, and it is in the moments when you feel abandoned that I still whisper your name. Know this, everything that is approaching is not coming to destroy you, but to open a new chapter. When night falls, I do not disappear. When the door closes, I do not abandon you. I am the one who knows every beat of your heart, who knows even the unspoken anxieties, who knows the pain you have hidden in the deepest places. What you call unexpected is never unexpected to me, for I have seen it before time began. I know every turn, every step, every tear of yours. And now I call you back to this truth. You are not alone. You are not forsaken. You are being upheld by my steadfast hands. There were times you asked, "Why me? Why does this pain keep lingering? Why does your silence make me feel lost?" My child, I answer you. These questions are not an offense, nor do they estrange you from me. They are the heartbeat of a soul longing to meet its Creator. I do not promise you a journey without tears, but I promise that every tear has worth in my kingdom. Not one sob of yours falls unheard. Not one trembling passes unnoticed by me. It is in your moments of weakness that my strength is made perfect. You must understand this. What I seek in you is not a flawless life without blemish, but a heart that knows how to return, how to rise again, how to say, "Lord, I need you." This surrender is not defeat. It is the pathway to true freedom. For when you try to hold everything by your own strength, you will grow weary. But when you lay your burdens at my feet, you will feel my wings lift you gently. I am calling you to release what you cannot control, for only in that release will you see my hand at work, my child. Tomorrow night is not a random moment, but a time I have made. It will come like a mighty wind sweeping across the roof, like a flash of lightning bursting through the dark. But remember, I am not only the wind, not only the lightning, I am also the peace that follows. You will see what has long been silent suddenly stirred, the hidden corners once thought immovable now laid bare. Yet do not be afraid, for my light is revealed to heal, not to condemn. You will see words once spoken to divide become the catalyst for true reconciliation. You will see wounds once thought never to close now opened, so they may be bound up. I am the great physician. I cut not to harm, but to preserve life. I know you have tried to hold together the broken pieces, hoping they might form something whole. You have tried again and again to take my place to mend what is beyond your strength. But my beloved, only I can heal to the root. Only I can see the whole picture. Tomorrow night is when I begin to unbind what you have tied the wrong way, to set it back in divine order. Do not be alarmed by the temporary breaking, for its end will be a peace surpassing all understanding. Open your eyes and see I do not always appear in what is loud. I can be in a tender glance, in a whisper spoken, amid anger in the sudden silence of a tense room. I am not absent, my child. I am present in every breath, in every sigh, in every tear that falls. And when you think all is falling apart, I am rebuilding with stones more enduring. You must know this. What is about to happen is not an ending, but a beginning. The shaking is not a sign that I have left, but a sign that I am walking among you. You may not yet understand. Your heart may tremble, but remember, my ways are higher than your ways, and my timing is perfect. If I allow a chapter to open behind it, surely awaits joy, a harvest, a restoration your eyes have not yet seen. There are promises over your household, still waiting to be fulfilled. There are destinies delayed but never denied. I have not finished writing this story. Tomorrow night is only a turning point, the beginning of a new trend. Reconciliation will come, but not a superficial kind. It will come through truth, revealed through courage to face through humble surrender. I am not seeking false peace. I am seeking healing at the root, unity forged in the fire of trial and refined in honest tears. Do not worry about what to say, for I will place the words upon your lips. When I urge you to speak, speak. When I call you to silence, be still. Do not try to calculate how to make it perfect. It is my power that makes the words alive. You need only to be willing to be open to trust. My angels have already been sent. They surround your household not to stand idle but to act. They fight for what your eyes cannot see. They protect, they uphold, they lift your prayers to my glorious throne. You are not alone, for all of heaven is backing you. My child, engrave this deep within you. Fear will always point you toward the storm, but I will point you toward the one who walks on the waves. I am teaching you to walk, not to avoid the waves, but to rise above them with me. Keep your eyes on me, for when you look at me, you will not sink. You will become one who carries peace into chaos, light into darkness, truth with love. This is the calling I have placed upon you. Be grateful even before the good appears, for it is this kind of faith that shakes the heavens. Give thanks not only for what I have done, but for what I am doing, even when your eyes do not yet see it. You are in my hands. Every strand of hair, every breath, every chapter of your life I hold and sustain. And each chapter, whether painful or joyful, is leading you to glory. One day when you look back, you will see that I walked with you through every moment, leaving not a single second unattended. Let me truly be God in your life, not just in theory, but in every practical step. Lay down the pen and let me write the next lines of the story. When you trust, you will see me turn ashes into beauty, tears into songs, brokenness into hope. My child, I am not finished with you. I have only just begun. Walk with me, for what lies ahead far surpasses all you have dared to imagine. My beloved, do not be surprised when you feel the ground beneath your feet tremble, when what you once held certain seems to shake. This is not a sign of destruction, but the breath of my spirit renewing all things. Do not think that shaking means I have left. Rather, shaking is evidence that I am walking among your household. When the mountains quake, when the seas roar, it is because my presence is so great that creation cannot remain still. Yet I am also the one who brings peace into the midst of these movements. I am the unchanging source of life, the foundation that cannot be shaken, the one who speaks and creation obeys. Remember, my silence is not my absence. There are seasons when I seem quiet so that your heart may learn to trust even when you do not hear. This is not abandonment, but a classroom of the Spirit. I teach you to place your faith not on feelings, but on my word. The very moment you think your prayers vanish into nothing in heaven, they are resounding like an unending song. The very moment you think your tears are forgotten, I am gathering them into my golden bowl. The very moment you think your steps are meaningless, I am laying down firm stones for you to walk upon. Tomorrow night is not an isolated event. It is a piece of a much larger picture. Before you were formed, I appointed that hour. Before the world began, I saw that your household would need an awakening. There are things that have slept too long, forgotten love memories covered over faith, locked inside rigid walls. I allow the shaking not to harm you, but to break those shells. Just as a seed must crack for life to sprout, so your household must experience a tremor for true life to be revealed. Look at me. When you look at circumstances, you see chaos. When you look at wounds, you see pain. But when you look at me, you see the truth that all things are being woven for good. You will watch my hands skillfully untangle knots you thought impossible. What feels like disintegration is actually the uprooting of toxic roots, so that new ground may be cultivated for a harvest. Do not fear the wind as it blows, for that wind is clearing the dust that obscures the light. Do not tremble when the rain pours, for that rain is the beginning of new growth. Remember, faith is not born in clear skies. Faith grows strong when darkness covers and no support remains but me alone. You will learn to walk not by sight but by steady trust in me. This is when your faith truly matures, not depending on temporary evidence but anchored in my unchanging word. As it is written, "The Lord is a stronghold in the day of trouble," Nahum 1:7. Let that word be the anchor of your soul. I know you have long tried to hold on to a false peace. You have covered wounds with silence. You have kept the house standing by your own effort. But that false peace cannot last. It is only a fragile wall hiding deeper pain. Tomorrow night, I will let those walls fall. You may feel pain, you may feel emptiness, but this is the only path for truth to surface and for true healing to begin. Remember, I never allow breaking only to abandon. I allow breaking so that I may rebuild on a stronger foundation. I will cause my voice to resound even through lips unaware they are speaking for me. Words that seem wounding will become my scalpel, cutting away what has decayed. I will stir hearts grown numb, break through hardened shells, and reveal the softness created for love. Do not look at the blade. Look at the hand of the physician. Do not focus on the cut. Trust the purpose of healing. For I am the one who never errs in my treatment. You have carried burdens not meant for you far too long. You thought you had to guard, protect, and repair. But that is my work, not yours. You were not created to carry all things. You were created to lean on me. Give it to me that your shoulders may be light and your heart may rest. You no longer need to strive to be your own savior, for I am already your savior. Know this, tomorrow night is not the end, but the beginning. Loss will turn to harvest, division to unity, pain to an outpouring of love. Do not judge the story by a single chapter, especially the chapter that makes you tremble. Look to the author, for I have never left a book unfinished. If I begin, I will surely complete it. If I sow, I surely reap. If I promise, I will surely fulfill. My angels stand around you now, preparing for the appointed hour. They do not simply watch. They fight for what your eyes cannot see. They protect, they guard, they lift your prayers to my throne. You are not alone. All of heaven is backing you. The long silence has not been abandonment, but proof that I am clearing the path for a breakthrough. My child, you may still ask, how can I know for sure that this is truly you? Remember this. When it happens, you will not be able to deny it. It will not be random, not coincidence, but my unmistakable hand. That is why today I speak to you beforehand, so that when it comes, you will not doubt, you will not fear, but you will recognize that it is I who acts. Anchor your heart in my promise, for fear will always point you toward the storm, but I will point you toward the one who walks on the waves. Rest in my heart, trust even when you do not understand. Receive even when it hurts, for I never allow anything outside of meaning and love. I am your God yesterday, today, and forever. And tomorrow night you will see the beginning of what I have promised. Be grateful even before the good unfolds, for it is precisely this kind of faith that shakes the heavens. Give thanks not only for what I have done, but also for what I am doing, even when your eyes cannot yet see it. You are in my hands. Every strand of hair, every breath, every chapter of your life, I uphold. And every chapter, whether painful or joyful, is leading you to glory. One day when you look back, you will see that I have walked with you in every moment, not missing a single second. Let me truly be God in your life, not only in theory, but in every practical step. Lay down the pen and let me continue the story. When you trust, you will see me turn ashes into beauty, tears into songs, brokenness into hope. My child, I am not finished with you. I have only just begun. Walk with me, for what lies ahead far surpasses anything you have ever dared to imagine. My beloved, do not be surprised when the ground beneath your feet seems to tremble, when the things you once held certain appear to shake. This is not a sign of destruction, but the breath of my renewal moving through all things. Do not think that shaking proves I have left. Rather, the shaking is evidence that I am walking among your household. When mountains quake and seas roar, it is because my presence is so great that creation itself cannot remain still. Yet it is I who bring peace into the midst of such movements. I am the unchanging source of life, the foundation that cannot be shaken, the one who speaks and all things obey. Remember, my silence is not my absence. There are seasons when I seem quiet so that your heart may learn to believe even when it does not hear. This is not abandonment, but a spiritual lesson I am teaching you, to place your trust not on feelings, but on my word itself. At the very moment you think your prayers vanish into the void in heaven, they are resounding like an unending song. At the very moment you think your tears are forgotten, I am gathering them into my golden bowl. At the very moment you think your steps have become meaningless, I am laying firm stones beneath your feet so you can walk on. Tomorrow night is not an isolated event. It is a piece of a much larger tapestry. Before you ever had form, I appointed that moment. Before the world began, I foresaw that your household would need an awakening. For there are things that have slept too long: love, forgotten memories, covered faith, confined within rigid walls. I permit the tremor not to harm you, but to break those shells. Just as a seed must split for life to emerge, so your household needs a shaking for true life to be revealed. Fix your eyes on me. When you look at your circumstances, you see chaos. When you look at your wounds, you see pain. But when you look at me, you see the truth that all things are being woven into good. You will see my hand skillfully untangling threads that once seemed impossible to separate. What you feel as disintegration is in fact the process of uprooting toxic roots so that fresh soil may be cultivated for a season of fruitfulness. Do not fear when the wind stirs, for that wind is blowing away the dust that has dimmed the light. Do not tremble when the rain pours down, for that rain is the beginning of new growth. Remember, faith is not born in days of clear skies and calm seas. Faith matures in darkness when no support remains but me alone. You will find yourself learning to walk not by sight but by steadfastness in me. That is when your faith truly comes of age, not relying on temporary proofs, but anchored in my unchanging word. As it is written, the Lord is a stronghold in the day of trouble. Nahum 1:7. Let that word be an anchor for your soul. I know you have tried many times to hold on to a false peace. You have covered your wounds with silence, kept the house standing by your own effort. But that false peace cannot last. It is only a fragile wall hiding the real pain. Tomorrow night I will allow those walls to fall. You may feel pain, you may feel empty, but this is the only way for truth to be revealed, for real healing to take place. Remember, I never break just to abandon. I only permit breaking so that I may rebuild on a firmer foundation. I will cause my voice to resound even through mouths that do not know they are speaking for me. Words that seem wounding will become my scalpel, cutting away what has decayed. I will stir hearts that have grown numb, cracking the hard shell of resistance so that the softness inside, made for love, can be seen. Do not look at the blade. Look at the hand of the healer. Do not focus on the cut. Trust the purpose of healing. For I am the one who never errs in how I handle you. You have carried burdens that were never yours for far too long. You thought you had to hold, to protect, to repair, but that is my work, not yours. You were not created to carry it all. You were created to lean on me, hand it over to me, so that your shoulders may be light and your heart may find rest. You no longer need to try to become the savior of your own life, for I have already been your savior. Know this: tomorrow night is not the end, but the beginning. Loss will turn into harvest, division will turn into unity. Pain will turn into an opportunity for love to overflow. Do not judge the story by a single chapter, especially the chapter that makes you tremble. Look to the author, for I have never written an unfinished book. If I begin, I will surely complete it. If I plant, I surely reap. If I promise, I will surely fulfill. My angels are standing around you, preparing for the appointed hour. They are not merely standing as spectators. They are fighting for what your eyes cannot see. They protect, they guard, they lift your prayers to my throne. You are not alone. All of heaven backs you. The silence up to now is not a sign of abandonment, but proof that I am clearing the way for a breakthrough. My child, perhaps you still ask, how can I be sure it is truly you? Remember this, when it happens you will not be able to deny it. It will not be chance, not coincidence, but my fingerprints. That is why today I tell you in advance, so that when it comes to pass you will not doubt, you will not fear, but you will know that it is I who is acting. Anchor your heart in my promise, for fear will always point you to the storm, but I point you to the one who walks upon the waves. Rest in my heart. Trust even when you do not understand. Receive even when it hurts, for I never allow anything without meaning and love. I am your God yesterday, today, and forever. And tomorrow night you will see what I have promised begin to unfold. My beloved, tomorrow night is not a meaningless moment. It is a sacred marker in the flow of life I have ordained. Some chapters must close so that a new chapter can begin, and I am the one who writes them both. You do not need to fear the blank page, for I have already written each line with love and good intent. Everything that happens, though it may appear to crumble on the outside, I use to reveal a higher purpose. What seems like a full stop is in truth only an ellipsis leading to a beginning beyond your imagining. Think about the seed. If it is not buried deep in the soil, if it does not allow its shell to crack, a young shoot will never emerge. That breaking is not a meaningless death, but the necessary condition for new life to appear. So it is with your family. There are things I must allow to crack, so that the hard shell of pretending and fear can be broken and the true core of love can be revealed. Tomorrow night I will allow this breaking to happen, not to destroy, but to bring life forth. Do not look at the fallen shell, look at the green shoot waiting to emerge. My child, what I am doing in your family is not only for the present, but also for the generations to come. Curses passed from one generation to the next. Mindsets nailed into place. Voices that deny worth, all of these will be cut off. I want to plant a new foundation where your descendants will walk without the old chains. They will no longer live in fear or shame, but will know who they are in my eyes, loved, chosen, redeemed. Do you see? The shaking is not only for now, it is also a promise for the future. Do not be alarmed when words like sharp blades are spoken. Those blades are not meant to destroy, but to open wounds that have long been hidden. A wound can only be healed once it is brought into the light. I am the healer. I do not cut to abandon, but to bind up, to stitch, to restore. Trust that behind every painful word is a loving hand. Behind every tear is gentle comfort. Behind every cry is my embracing arms. Pay attention, I will speak through unexpected mouths, stir hearts long closed, shake souls that seem turned to stone. I will turn silence into speech, numbness into tears, hardness into softness. And in that very moment, you will see that I am still at work, even in ways you did not expect. Open your spiritual eyes to recognize me in every detail, for I am never absent from the defining moments. My child, you have tried for so long to keep everything intact when it should long ago have been placed into my hands. You have carried on your shoulders burdens that were never yours, patched with your own strength, the fragments that only my power can restore. But tomorrow night I will begin to unburden you, not to exhaust you, but to teach you how to let go. You were not created to be the source of your own salvation. You were created to find salvation in me. It may look like the beginning of collapse, but do not panic, for its end will be peace. I am the one who brings order from chaos, light from darkness, life from death. Even when your eyes see the walls fall, believe that a new foundation is being laid. Even when you hear cries, believe that they are the birth cries, not the cries of ending. Even when you see tears flow, believe that they are the beginning of a new joy. I am not after surface peace. I seek healing at the root. A family cannot be built on pretense, on false silence. It must be built on truth, even when truth brings pain. Remember, truth does not come to kill, but to set free. When truth is revealed, the weight of falsehood will dissolve. When light floods in darkness has no place left to hide. Tomorrow night that light will spread through every room, every heart, every word. Prepare your heart. You do not need to have every word ready. You do not need to calculate every response. You only need to be willing to listen and obey. When I want you to speak, I will place the words upon your lips. When I want you to be silent, I will give you the strength to hold your peace. Do not fear making mistakes, for I myself will make your words alive. Do not fear weakness, for my angels stand around you, shielding and upholding you. You are not alone. I have declared war on every chain that binds your family, generational curses, the silence that erodes, the shame that tears apart. I will break them all. This is my work, and I will complete it. Do not look at the resistance, look at my power. Do not look at the chaos, look at the one who stands in the storm. Remember, fear will always tell you that you will sink, but I tell you that you will walk upon the waves if your eyes remain fixed on me. My child, you may feel tempted to doubt, to run, to think this is not me. But I tell you beforehand, so that you will know it is I. When it happens, recall my words so that your heart will be steady. You will see the hard-hearted begin to soften, the distant begin to long for home, hearts you thought extinguished begin to burn again. Do not expect perfection at once. Expect movement. Rejoice over every ray of light, for from a small ray the whole sky will blaze. And you must know that this is not only for you, but for your descendants after you. I am laying a new foundation so that the next generation may walk in true freedom. The chains that once restrained will be no more. A new era of unity, of love, of truth will begin. You do not need to understand it all. You only need to believe and surrender. The rest I will complete. Tomorrow night is not destruction, but a beginning written in love, sealed by the blood of covenant, guaranteed by my unfailing promise. Stand firm, open your heart, and let me do what I have purposed. And when it is all over, you will look back and say, surely God was among us. My beloved, faith is not born from ease, nor does it grow strong in days of calm. True faith is forged when what is familiar is shaken, when your feet can no longer stand on the old foundation. It is in darkness that faith is tested. It is in silence that faith matures. This is why I allow the shaking to come upon your family, not to leave you disoriented, but to drive the roots of your faith deeper into me. Remember Abraham, the father of faith. He did not know where he was going, yet he went out simply because he trusted the promise. He needed no map, no guarantee, only the conviction that the one who called him was faithful. You see, faith is not understanding everything, but trusting even when you do not understand. That is what I am shaping in your heart and in your family. When you cannot see the way ahead, when darkness covers everything, remember that faith does not look with natural eyes, but with the light of my word. My child, tomorrow night will be a test of faith. You may feel everything swaying, words becoming blades, tears overflowing, and you will ask yourself, is God really here? Is he really acting? Etch this deeply in your heart. I have not left you. It is precisely in the moment you cannot feel me that I draw closest. It is when you think you are alone that I surround you with my army of angels. It is when you tremble that I place my hand upon your shoulder so you will know you are not alone. Your faith is not built upon ease but upon perseverance. When you continue to stand firm though no results are yet visible, when you continue to pray though no answer has yet appeared, when you continue to praise though tears still stream down your face, that is when true faith arises. Faith is not a feeling but a choice. Each time you choose to trust me, instead of doubt, the seed of faith grows deeper within your heart. I have not called you to walk alone. I go before you to open the way. I go behind you to protect. I walk beside you to accompany. You are surrounded by my presence. Let faith open your eyes to perceive this. Do not look at the storm, but look at the one who walks upon the waves. Do not let the wind drown out my voice, for my voice does not always thunder, but often comes as a whisper. When you choose to listen, you will hear clearly. Faith does not remove trials, but it transforms them into testimony. Just as gold is refined in fire, so your soul will be refined through trials. Fire does not come to destroy, but to burn away impurities, so that true gold may shine forth. Tomorrow night my fire will touch your household. It may cause you to tremble, but do not fear. I am the one who governs the flame, and I know precisely the measure it requires to purify, never to consume. You may hear words like arrows shot against you. You may witness actions that make you want to flee. But remember, this is not the end. This is the breaking that allows the light to enter. If you keep your eyes on me, you will see, even amid the chaos, your faith shining brighter than ever. You will discover a courage you never thought you had, for I will place it within your heart. Faith does not exempt you from the storm, but it makes you stand firm within it. You will not be uprooted, for your roots cling to me. Let your heart be anchored in the promise. Though the mountains be shaken and the hills be removed, yet my unfailing love for you will not be shaken, nor my covenant of peace be removed. Isaiah 5:4-1-0. Let this word be the firm foundation in the midst of the tremors to come. Do not fear fleeting doubts. Doubt does not kill faith as long as you do not remain in it. When doubt arises, use it as a springboard to run toward me. Speak to me as the Father once pleaded for his child, I believe. Help my unbelief. Mark 9:2-4. I do not turn away such sincere cries. On the contrary, I draw nearer to uphold. Prepare your heart not to escape the trial, but to walk through it with your eyes fixed on me. Tomorrow night your faith will be tested, but it will also be strengthened. You will see that even in moments of weakness, I remain your strength. Even in times of lost direction, I remain your light. Even in moments of collapse, I remain the one who lifts you up. Trust. Not because everything is clear, but because I am the one who never changes. Trust not because circumstances are favorable, but because I am the one who is faithful. Trust not because you see the outcome beforehand, but because I have spoken, and my word never returns void. Anchor yourself in faith, for faith will be the lamp that lights your path through the night. Faith will be the anchor that keeps you from drifting away. Faith will be the key that unlocks the healing and restoration I am about to pour upon your household. And when all has passed, you will see not only a home transformed, but a faith stronger, more mature, more beautiful than ever before. My child, waiting is one of the greatest tests of faith. You often long for answers to come at once, for miracles to appear immediately, for doors to open the very moment you knock. Yet mature faith is not formed in instant gratification. It is forged in the long silence where you see nothing changing but still choose to believe that I am at work. It is in the waiting that patience is born and faith grows deep. Do you remember Job? He sat among the ashes, having lost everything, accused by friends, urged by his wife to give up. He did not understand the reason. He saw no light ahead. Yet he still declared, though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. Job 1:3-1-5. That is faith in waiting. Such faith does not need explanations or evidence. It only needs to know that I am still God and worthy of trust. My child, I also desire to forge within you that kind of faith, faith that stands firm though time stretches long, though prayers seem unanswered, though everything appears silent. You often think waiting is an empty void, but in truth, waiting is where I work most deeply within you. When you see nothing happening, I am preparing. When you feel abandoned, I am arranging. When you think all is at a standstill, I am laying each stone of the road ahead. Like a potter shaping a vessel in his hands, I use the time of waiting to mold the form of your soul, to strengthen it, to enlarge it, to hold more grace. My child, faith in waiting is like a seed buried deep in the soil. No one sees it sprouting, no one hears it growing, yet it is alive, putting down roots, preparing to break forth at its appointed season. You cannot force spring to come early. You cannot compel the seed to bloom before its time. In the same way, my promise will come to pass at the moment I have set. It is neither delayed nor rushed, but exact in my eternal purpose. There are moments when you sigh and ask, Lord, how long will you delay? But my child, what you call delay is in fact my mercy. I withhold nothing good from you when it is safe to give. I hold back not to punish, but to protect. I postpone not to disappoint, but to prepare something better. When I open a door, no one can shut it. When I speak, everything must yield. Therefore, do not fear the silence. It is not abandonment, but preparation. Waiting is never wasted. In waiting, I teach you patience. In waiting, I teach you trust. In waiting, I teach you to lift your eyes instead of lowering them. With each day you wait, your faith stretches a little further, like muscles strengthened through repeated tension. And when the day of fulfillment comes, you will treasure it all the more, because you know the price of patience, the strength of belief, and the worth of perseverance. Let faith turn waiting into worship. Do not let it become resentment. Do not let it grow into bitterness. Let waiting become a song. When you praise me, even before you see the miracle, you shake the heavens. When you give thanks, even before you see the answer, you show that your faith rests not on results, but on me. And that is the faith that delights my heart. Look at David. He was anointed king as a shepherd boy, but he waited many years, enduring pursuit, danger, and hardship before the promise was fulfilled. Had he seized the throne before he was ready, he could not have ruled as a man after my own heart. It was the time of waiting that shaped him into a steadfast, humble king who depended on me. In the same way, I am waiting to shape you into one who can carry the promise. Do not waste your waiting. Do not merely sit in discouragement, but use it to draw nearer to me. Use this time to deepen your roots in my word, to listen for my voice, to let your heart be shaped. If you treat waiting as an enemy, you will grow weary. But if you see it as a classroom, you will grow mature. Let waiting become an altar where you offer the sacrifice of praise, where you sing songs in the night. Remember, waiting is not the gap between promise and fulfillment. It is the bridge that connects the two. Without that bridge, you cannot step across. Without that bridge, you will not be strong enough to receive. Therefore, walk upon the bridge of waiting, with trust, with patience, with your eyes fixed on me. I know waiting wearies you, but I promise that those who wait upon me will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. Isaiah 40:31. That is the reward of faith in waiting. You will not only receive what you have longed for, but also gain the strength to sustain it. You will not only see the miracle, but also grow the maturity to treasure it. Be steadfast. Let waiting become a lesson of faith. Let it become a place of encounter. And when the season arrives, you will see clearly, not a single day was wasted, not a single tear was lost, not a single prayer disappeared. All has been recorded by me, and all will be answered in perfect time. My beloved child, faith is not merely a notion in the mind, not only whispered prayers, but a living power that must be expressed in action. If faith remains only in theory, it is still immature. But when faith steps out into real life, it becomes a visible testimony to my power. This is why I said faith without works is dead. James 2:17. Not because works themselves save you, but because works are the natural fruit of true faith. I do not call you to simply sit and wait for a miracle. I call you to live as though the miracle has already come. Pray as though you have received, walk as though you have seen, praise as though you have already overcome. When you act in faith, you open the way for my power to be revealed. Just as Naaman had to dip himself 7 times in the Jordan, just as Israel had to march around Jericho for 7 days, just as Peter had to step out of the boat, the miracle came only when they acted upon my word. In the same way, your faith will be proven in concrete steps, even small ones, but built on obedience. Do not forget, acts of faith are not always grand gestures. Sometimes it is a sincere apology, a hug that dissolves misunderstanding, a gentle word instead of a harsh one, a silence instead of an argument. These small things, when done in faith, have the power to shift the atmosphere of your home. Tomorrow night I will open opportunities for you to act in faith. Do not miss them. Be sensitive to know when to speak, when to be silent, when to step forward, when to wait. My child, acting in faith does not mean you must do everything in your own strength. It means you are partnering with me. I do not ask you to strain yourself into being the savior of every problem. I only ask you to open your heart so that I may place words upon your lips, strength in your hands, and wisdom in your mind. When you are willing to obey, I will turn that willingness into a miracle. You do not need to calculate the outcome. You only need to take the step. The rest I will accomplish. Remember Abraham when he offered Isaac. His faith was not merely in saying he believed, but in truly laying his son upon the altar. That was the action of a heart convinced that I could even raise the dead. Remember the widow at Zarephath. Her faith was not in her words, but in taking the last of her flour to make bread for Elijah. That was the action of believing that I could provide without end. My child, faith revealed in action will always be accompanied by sacrifice. For such action calls you to release what is certain in order to take hold of what is unseen. My child, you will be challenged to choose to cling to the old ways or step into the new, to hold on to false silence or speak out in truth, to grasp for control or surrender yourself to me. Every choice is an act of faith. When you choose to trust me, you set your foot on the land I have promised. When you choose to obey, you enter the current of miracles. When you choose to love instead of resent, you open the door to healing. Faith is not sitting still and waiting. It is living each day with the certainty that I am at work. My child, I am not seeking perfection in your actions. I am seeking a surrendered heart. Even when you stumble, I look at your sincere effort. Even when your words are clumsy, I value the courage it takes to speak. Even when your steps are trembling, I still call it great faith. For faith is not measured by the strength of your stride, but by the direction of your gaze toward me. Tomorrow night, when everything shakes, I will give you an opportunity to act in faith. You may be prompted to speak comfortably when everyone else is shouting. You may be called to keep silent when you long to react. You may be sent to pray right in the living room, in the midst of a tense atmosphere. Do not worry about how others will respond. Your only concern should be whether you are obeying my voice. When you act in faith, heaven moves, angels act, and change begins. My child, every act of faith you take, however small, carries eternal weight. A seed sown in faith becomes a tree of life. A prayer lifted in faith turns into a river of blessing. A step taken in faith opens a path never before walked. You may not measure it immediately, but I see, and remember every act. Nothing you do in faith is ever wasted. Be steadfast. Act not because you see results, but because you know the one who promised is faithful. Live each day as living proof of faith. And as you do, your whole household will see the light. They will be awakened. They will be stirred. They will know there is a living God at work. That is the purpose I have for your faith, not only that you may be strengthened, but that your household may be transformed. My child, walk on. Do not hesitate. Do not be afraid. I go with you. I have gone before you. I will follow behind you. And every step you take, I myself will mark it as an imprint of faith, leaving an unfading legacy for the generations to come. My beloved child, faith does not end with believing that I can or believing that I exist. It must lead you to a greater step, receiving. If believing is the seed, then receiving is the open soil in which that seed takes root and bears fruit. Many of my children believe I am powerful, believe I am loving, but they do not open their hearts to receive that love. They stand outside grace, like one looking through the window of a banquet, but not daring to step inside. My child, I do not want you to only watch. I want you to taste. You have prayed many times asking me to give, yet when I stretch out my hand, you hesitate. You think you are unworthy. You fear disappointment. You doubt whether my love is truly for you. But I tell you this, no one is worthy by their own merit. All is given by grace. You do not need to prove yourself or perform enough good deeds to earn my love. You only need to open your heart and receive. Receive not with trembling, hesitant hands, but with a trusting heart. Look again at those who stepped into the history of faith. The Samaritan woman at the well brought no merit, only thirst. She came to draw water, yet received the living water from my Son himself. The woman with the issue of blood had no honor, no strength, yet with one touch of the hem she received healing. The thief on the cross had no chance to make amends, no time to do good works. Yet in the moment he opened his heart, he received paradise. You see, receiving does not depend on circumstance, but on surrender. Many times you do not dare to receive because you fear that if you receive and it does not last, you will hurt more. You fear opening your heart to love lest it shatter. You fear accepting forgiveness lest the fault return. You fear receiving blessings thinking you cannot keep it. But you must understand, what I give does not rely on your power to hold it, but on my power to keep it. When I give, I also guard. When I open a door, I also watch over it. When I place a blessing in your hands, I myself preserve it so it will not fade. Therefore do not fear. Receiving for the responsibility does not rest on you alone. Know this: receiving is an act of humility. It acknowledges that you cannot save yourself, cannot heal yourself, cannot grant yourself what you need. It declares that you need me, and that humility opens the door for the heavenly flow to pour down. God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. James 4:6. When you bow low, when you open your heart, when you say, Lord, I need you, that is when heaven releases grace. I have heard the words you whispered in the dark. Lord, if you truly hear me, touch my family. If you are truly here, break the chains. If you truly love, show yourself. And now I answer, I have heard. I have gathered every tear. I have seen every effort to hold on. But now I call you to go beyond asking. Open your heart to receive. Receive not just once, but every day, every moment. Imagine yourself standing under a great rain. You can hold up an umbrella, you can retreat under a roof, and the rain will not touch you. But if you put down the umbrella, step out, and let the rain soak your hair, your clothes, your skin, you will be completely covered. My grace is the same. It is always pouring. The question is not whether I am giving, but whether you are stepping out to receive. Lay down the umbrella of fear. Step out from under the awning of pride, and let my grace fall upon you. There may still echo within you old voices. You are not good enough. You are not worthy. You are not chosen. Those voices have clung to your family from generation to generation, sowing shame and fear. But tomorrow night I will silence them with the thunder of truth. You are my beloved child in whom I delight. Mark 1:1. Let that word become the new foundation of your house. Let it resound through every room, driving out every lie. You must understand, receiving is not only an opening of your personal heart, but an opening of your family's space. When one person receives grace, the whole household partakes. When one heart opens, a fresh wind blows through every room. When one mouth speaks, I receive, the whole space is sanctified. Be courageous to be the first. Open your mouth, open your heart, and let my grace pour down, and it will flow far beyond you. Many times you think that receiving means sitting passively, but it does not. Receiving is cooperation. It is when you stretch out your hand as I give. It is when you step forward as I open the way. It is when you say yes as I call. It is not resignation, but surrender, full of trust. It says, I do not fully understand, but I trust you. I do not know the outcome, but I know you are good. I cannot control it, but I place everything into your hands. This is true receiving. My child, I know there are dreams in your heart that have died. You once hoped, but that hope was crushed. You once waited, but the long waiting wore you out. You once prayed, but your prayers seemed to fall into emptiness. You closed the door of your heart, thinking it would hurt less if you no longer expected. But I have come to restore. I have come to bring to life what has died. I have come to breathe upon the ashes. But for me to act, you must open your heart to receive. Remember Lazarus. His body had been in the tomb for 4 days, and everyone thought there was no hope. But my son called out, Lazarus, come forth. And he came out even though his hands and feet were still bound with grave clothes. My child, the dreams in your heart, the hopes in your family, though they seem dead, I can call them to life again. But you must be ready to open the door, ready to receive that call. You cannot seal the tomb and expect life to rise. You must roll the stone away, and I will call the dead to live. This is what I say to you tomorrow night. Will not only be a shaking, but a rain of grace. It will soak into every corner, soften hardened hearts, refresh the barren ground, and awaken seeds that have been buried. You only need to open your heart, only need to say, I receive. And when you speak those words, all of heaven will answer, angels will descend, and blessings will pour out. Trust me, open your heart and receive. Not because you are worthy, but because I love you. Not because you are perfect, but because I am faithful. Not because you have done enough, but because I have finished the work. And when you receive it, you will see your life change, your family will change, your future will change. For once grace is received, nothing can stop it from bearing fruit. My beloved child, receiving is not only taking a gift and keeping it for yourself, but opening the door to allow that gift to transform everything within you. My grace never enters a heart and leaves it the same. When you truly open your heart, when you truly receive, a process of transformation begins, silent yet powerful, gradual yet certain. It is an irresistible change, for when light floods in darkness has no place to remain. Look at the water. When rain falls upon dry ground, it does not merely moisten the surface. It seeps deep, it spreads wide, it revives even the roots that have withered. In the same way, when you receive me, the change is not only on the outside, not only temporary behaviors. It goes down to the very roots of you, healing old wounds, breaking invisible chains, restoring the parts of life that seemed dead. My child, I do not give you grace to decorate the outside. I give it to recreate from within. You once thought that if you only changed your surroundings, your circumstances, or the people around you, life would become better. But true transformation does not begin from the outside, it begins from within. When the heart is healed, when the spirit is revived, when the mind is renewed, even in hardship, you will see light. That is why I have said, Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 1:2. Receiving me is allowing that renewal to take place, so that you no longer live the old way but walk in the newness. Transformation always comes with healing. No one is truly renewed without being touched at the place of pain. You cannot step into a new season while still clutching an old wound. That is why I stir up memories you want to forget, why I expose the injuries you have kept hidden, not to hurt you more but to heal you at the root. Just as a physician must touch the wound, cleanse the pus, and cut away what is decayed, so I must touch the deepest places, the ones you do not want anyone to see. Only then can true healing begin. I know there are corners of your heart you have kept locked for many years. You think that if you stay, silent time will make them disappear. But you see, time does not heal. Only I can. Pain buried for long becomes a hardened scar, blocking the free flow of love. Tomorrow night I will shake those doors so that light may stream in, so that the wound may be uncovered and then bound up. Do not be afraid when tears flow. Tears are the cleansing stream, the sign of release. Remember Mary Magdalene. 7 spirits once bound her, but when my son touched her, she was freed and became the first to witness the resurrection. Do you see receiving sets you free from chains and places you in honor? Or think of the blind man at Jericho. He cried out, "Son of David, have mercy on me." And when he received the touch, his eyes were opened. My child, receiving always walks with transformation. It breaks chains, opens the eyes of the blind, lifts up the fallen, and brings to life what was dead. Understand that the healing I give is not only for an individual, but for a community, for a family, for a lineage. When one person opens, the heart grace spreads outward. When one heart softens, the atmosphere of the whole house changes. Tomorrow night, I will not only touch you, but I will touch your household. What has been passed down from generation to generation will be cut off. Invisible curses will be broken. A new stream will flow, the stream of forgiveness, of love, of unity. You will see dividing walls fall and bridges of connection being raised. True transformation is never superficial. It is not a temporary change of behavior for a day only to return to the old ways. It is renewal from the root. When you truly receive, you will find yourself thinking differently, speaking differently, acting differently, not because of force, but because a new life stream is flowing from within. You will find love naturally where hatred once dwelt, patience springing up where anger once burned, forgiveness blossoming where bitterness once took root. This is the evidence of transformation. Remember also, to receive means to let me reign. When you receive me, you are no longer the one in control. You hand that authority to me. This may frighten you because you want to hold on, but trust that my hand is safer than yours. I see the whole picture while you see only a part. I know the end from the beginning while you know only the present. When you give me the reins, you will see a journey beyond your imagination. Tomorrow night is not only the beginning of transformation, but the beginning of a healing process that will continue. It will not stop in a single moment, but will grow, will spread, will deepen. I will patiently work step by step, day by day, until your family is truly healed, until every wound is mended, every chain broken, every heart renewed. I never abandon the work I have begun. My child, receive. Let me step into the dark corners. Let me cleanse the wounds. Let me transform you from the inside out. Do not resist. Do not cling to what is dead. Do not fear the light, for my light does not come to condemn but to set free. My water does not come to drown but to give life. My fire does not come to destroy but to refine. Open your heart, and you will see a transformation that no power on earth can stop. This is my word to you. Receive so that you may be transformed. Receive so that you may be healed. Receive so that you may live anew. And when you receive, your whole household will enter a new season. A season of truth, a season of love, a season of unity, My beloved child, receiving does not stop at drawing blessings to satisfy personal needs. True receiving is opening your heart so that the river of grace flows through you and from there spreads to everyone around you. Grace is never given to be locked away inside a closed vessel. It is given to become a stream that pours out. When you receive me, you do not receive only for yourself, but also become an instrument through which I pour life into generations. Picture this: you are the channel, and my waters desire to flow through you, to refresh the parched fields of many other hearts. You once thought that to become a blessing for others, you had to be strong, perfect, without flaws. But my child, what I require is not perfection, but openness. I can even use cracked clay jars as long as they are willing. Through the cracks my light will shine. In weakness my power will be revealed. You do not need to mend yourself to become worthy. You only need to open your heart, and I myself will fill it. The abundance I give is not like the world's abundance. The world calls it abundance when one possesses more than others, when barns overflow with goods. But the abundance I give is when your soul no longer lacks, when your heart rests secure, when you know you are loved unconditionally. Such abundance allows you to give without fear of running dry, to love without fear of rejection, to sacrifice without fear of loss. For the flow does not come from you but from me, and that flow never runs dry. My child, to receive abundance also means to receive surrender. Only when you relinquish control can you truly allow me to fill you. You cannot clutch a vessel full of debris and still expect me to pour in pure water. You must be willing to empty it, willing to be bare, for only then can I fill it. Surrender is not loss, but the condition for receiving more. As the seed must die to bear much fruit, so your soul must surrender to blossom in the new season. Remember Moses. He could not lead the people by his own wisdom or strength alone. He had to surrender to step into my presence, to let me write the law on tablets of stone and also on the tablet of his heart. You too must understand that true receiving cannot be separated from surrender. When you receive blessing, you also receive responsibility. When you receive grace, you also receive calling. When you are filled, you are also sent. My child, you often fear surrender because you think you will lose freedom. But the truth is, when you grasp control tightly, that is when you lose freedom. You become a slave to worry, to fear, to outcomes. Yet when you surrender, you step into true freedom. For I carry, I provide, I protect. When you release the helm, you will see the boat moving rightly, for it is guided by the one who knows the seas. Surrender is not a one-time act, it is a daily journey. Each morning as you open your eyes, you say, Lord, today I give this day to you. Each time you face hardship, you whisper, Lord, I entrust this matter to you. Each time you are tempted to hold on, remember that grasping only exhausts you, but releasing gives you rest. Daily surrender, daily receiving. This is how your soul is continually nourished. Take note, those who know how to receive and surrender become living witnesses. They do not need eloquent words, for their lives themselves are testimony. They do not need to coerce anyone into belief, for the light within them stirs hunger in others. Tomorrow night, when you and your family open your hearts to receive, the whole community will witness. They will see change. They will hear laughter replacing tears. They will see unity instead of division. And they will know that the living God is at work. My child, I do not give blessings for them to stop with you. I give so they may continue to flow. When you receive forgiveness, also forgive. When you receive love, also love. When you receive peace, also sow peace. When you receive a blessing, also share it with others. For in giving out, you will be filled more. In pouring out, you will find the flow never ends. That is the true abundance of receiving. You must understand, receiving is also the act of believing that I know you better than you know yourself. There are things you think you need but do not, and things you dare not ask, but I know you do need. Receiving is trusting that I give rightly, fully, and well. It is saying, "Let your will be done, not mine." And when you live with that posture, you will find peace in your heart because you know you are in the hands of the Almighty. I speak to you, receive my abundance, and let it transform your life into a source of blessing for many. Surrender not with fear, but with trust. Open your heart not cautiously, but with longing, and live not only for yourself, but so that light may reach those who have never known me. This is the true purpose of receiving, to make you a witness, to make your family a lamp, to make your lineage a spiritual inheritance for generations. My child, be ready. Tomorrow night will be the beginning, but the journey of receiving will continue on day after day until I fulfill every promise. All you need to do is open your heart and say, "I receive," and I will do the rest. And when you look back, you will see grace has overflowed. Life has poured forth abundance, has covered you, and it all began with one simple decision, opening your heart to receive. My beloved child, faith is the foundation. Receiving is the door, but living is the lifelong journey. If faith stops at a few moments of prayer and receiving is only an emotional instant, then grace has not yet reached its goal. I call you to step out and let what you believe and receive become your breath, your steps, the blood flowing in your everyday life. Living in me means letting me become the air you breathe, the water you drink, the light you follow. It is not a fleeting experience, but a way of life. My child, many believe in me during times of trouble, receive me in hours of crisis, but when the storm calms, they return to old patterns. They keep me in memory as a past event rather than letting me become their heartbeat. But I have not called you to a patched-up faith. I have called you to a life of union. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me, and I in him, will bear much fruit. John 1:5. Do you see? Living means abiding in me without interruption, like a branch attached to the vine. If the branch is cut off, it withers. If it remains, it bears abundant fruit. Living in my presence does not mean you must abandon all earthly tasks to remain only in a place of worship. It means turning every ordinary task into an act of worship. When you work, do it as an offering to me. When you speak, let your words reflect my kindness. When you rest, let your heart rest securely under my shelter. When you face trials, remember that I am right beside you, holding your hand. You do not need to divide your life into a spiritual part and a common part. Every moment belongs to me, and I desire to be in every moment of your life. Living in me also means letting me define your value and your purpose. The world will always try to impose its measures: success, possessions, status, prestige. But living in me is choosing a different standard: love, faithfulness, humility, sacrifice. You will discover that what the world exalts is often empty, and what the world despises is often treasure everlasting. When you live in me, you do not run after shadows, but walk in the reality of the kingdom. I know there are days you wake up burdened, feeling as though you lack the strength to live fully. But it is in those very days you must remember, life is not lived by your own strength, but by grace. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 1:2-9. When you are weak, draw near to me, for that is the moment for my power to be revealed. Do not strive to appear strong. Be honest about your weakness and allow me to uphold you. Living in me is walking each day in obedience. You do not need to know the entire path ahead. You only need to step into the light I give you for today. Just as Israel followed the pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night, so let your heart be sensitive to my leading. At times I call you to move forward, at times I call you to stop. At times I urge you to speak, at times I call you to be silent. Obedience is not always easy, but it is the key to living fully in my presence. My child, living in me also means living in community. Spiritual life was never designed to be solitary. Just as the body has many members, so my family needs each person to contribute. When you live in love, forgiveness, and unity, you reflect my very nature. Do not close yourself off. Open your heart to those around you. Share joy, support in pain, pray for one another, encourage one another. Life in me cannot be separated from love for others. Remember, living in me does not mean you will have no trials. Trials will still come, storms will still blow, but the difference is you will have a firm foundation. When others collapse, you will stand. When the world panics, you will be at peace. When others despair, you will still hope. For your foundation is not circumstance, but me, the one who never changes. My child, living in my presence also means living in joy. Not the shallow joy of the world, but the joy that rises above circumstance. Even when tears are still on your face, joy can spring up because it comes from knowing you are loved, you are not alone, you are in my hands. This joy is the strength that holds you steady, the light that shines in the darkness, the song that rises in the valley. This is my word to you. Live in me each day, each hour, each moment. Do not confine me to a holiday, a meeting, a prayer hour. Let me become the heartbeat of your life. Let my presence cover each thought, each decision, each action. And you will see that life is no longer split between the spiritual and the earthly, but all becomes one, all belongs to me. My child, living in me is not a burden but freedom. It is not a chain but wings. It is not an imposition but joy. For when you live in me, you live according to the very purpose for which you were created. And then you will discover this true life is not merely existence, but living in union with the one who created you. My beloved, when you choose to live in me, your life does not change only in silence. It becomes an evident testimony to the world. You do not need to raise your voice to explain, nor argue to persuade, for the light of your very life will speak on its own. You are the light of the world. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. Matthew 5:1-4-16. Living in me means you become a mirror so that others may see me in even the smallest details of your life. My child, a person may hide their pain, may cover their fears, may build walls so the world cannot see their weaknesses. But the light of mine in you cannot be restrained. When you live in my presence, you carry the atmosphere of heaven. People will sense something different in you, peace in the midst of storms, gentleness amid tension, steadfastness in adversity. They will ask, why do you not collapse when so many have given up? Why can you love when betrayed? Why can you hope in the place of despair? And the only answer is because you are living in me. To live as a testimony does not mean you bear the burden of proving yourself perfect. You do not need to wear the mask of hypocrisy. You only need to be real. Your authenticity, when you admit weakness, when you show that you too need grace, becomes the most powerful witness. For the world does not need a distant model. It needs to see grace at work in a real human being. When they see you still standing though you stumble, still singing though tears fall, still forgiving though wounded, they will understand that there is a power greater at work within you. I have appointed your life to be a living letter, written not with ink, but with my spirit, not on tablets of stone, but on the tablet of your heart. 2 Corinthians 3:3. Every action, every word, every attitude is a line of that letter which the world can read. And when they read, they will not see you but me. This is why I call you to live each day in my presence, so that even the smallest details may become proof of my love. My child, look back at the witnesses of Scripture. Noah did not preach long sermons to prove his faith. He built an ark, and the ark itself was the testimony. Daniel did not need to explain much about his faithfulness. The lion's den became the proof. The apostles did not hold earthly power, but their lives their sacrifices, their steady steps, their unceasing prayers became a voice echoing to the nations. You too are the same. Your life is a testimony stronger than any sermon. To live as a testimony means you live with the awareness that every moment holds eternal value. No act is too small to matter. A single word of comfort can change an entire dark day. A smile can dissolve loneliness. A quiet prayer can move heaven itself. Do not despise the small things. When done in me, they become seeds sown into an eternal field. I know there are times you fear being judged. Fear that if you live your faith openly, you will be rejected or mocked. But remember, the light is not meant to be placed under a basket but on a stand. You were not created to hide. You were created to shine. Do not fear the words of people. Remember that all of heaven is watching. A great cloud of witnesses surrounds you, and I myself am smiling as you choose to live fully. Living as a testimony does not mean you must force yourself to always be cheerful and strong. The greatest witness often comes through tears. When you still praise me in pain, when you remain faithful in waiting, when you continue to trust amid uncertainty, that is the loudest testimony. The world will not understand, but this very lack of understanding will stir their longing. They will ask what power keeps you standing, and the answer is, the power comes from me. My child, I have not called you to live only for yourself. I have called you to live as a sign for your generation. Your family, your children, and those around you will be awakened by the life within you. Tomorrow night when I move, let your very life be the proof that I am present. Do not merely look for eloquent words. Let your actions, your peace, and your love speak everything. This is my word for you. Live as a testimony. Let your life be a mirror, a letter written by grace, a lamp shining in the night. When you do this, you are not only living for the present, but also leaving a legacy for the future. Generations to come will look and know God has acted. He is alive, and He has been present in your life. My beloved child, living is not a sudden flare that fades away, but a long process shaped day by day, hour by hour, through every tear and every smile. I do not call you to be a flame that burns brightly for a moment and then dies out. I call you to be a steadfast lamp sustained by the oil of the Holy Spirit, so that even when darkness covers the night, the light does not go out. You must understand perseverance itself is the evidence of living faith. Many begin with zeal but give up along the way. They taste the initial joy, but when trials come, they lose heart. But I want you to be steadfast, not only running fast at the start, but walking firmly all the way to the end. Living in me means knowing that the road may twist, may be steep, may even be shrouded in shadows. But I walk with you, and the destination is surely glory. He who endures to the end shall be saved. Matthew 2:4-1-3. Perseverance does not mean you never grow weary or discouraged. It means that when you are tired, you pause in my arms. When you fall, you rise by my strength. When you cannot see the way, you still move forward by the light of my word. Perseverance is not never being weak, but never giving up. And this very endurance makes your life a testimony brighter than any sermon. Remember, to live with perseverance, you must live in union with me. Union means you not only call me Lord with your lips, but allow me to truly be Lord in every area of your life. You cannot live with a divided heart, seeking your own will, while hoping for my blessing. Nor can you follow me halfway, stepping forward today, retreating tomorrow. Union means one heart, one mind, one direction. Your will be done. And when you walk in union, my strength will cover, protect, and guide you through every storm. My child, think of the image of a boat. If the rudder does not align with the wind, the boat will drift. But when the rudder is aligned with the wind, the boat will go far, even through storms. You are the boat, and I am the wind. If you try to row against my will, you will exhaust yourself. But if you align with me, my wind will carry you across the seas. This is the difference between living by your own will and living in union with me. Living in union also means no longer dividing time for God and time for yourself. Every moment is a holy time. When you work, I am there. When you care for your family, I am present. When you rest, I cover you. When you face hardship, I walk with you. Union means there is no distance between us. You do not have to wait for prayer time to sense me. You can hear my voice in every heartbeat, every breath, every step. Living in union with me also means living in unity with others. I did not create you to be alone. Family, community, the church, all are part of my plan. When you choose to love, to forgive, to unite you, reflect my nature. The world easily divides, condemns, and closes doors, but I call you to live differently, to become a bridge, to become a hand that lifts, to become a flame that binds together. When you live this way, you become a clear testimony that I am living in you. I know there are moments when you feel alone, thinking you are living for me by yourself. But remember, you belong to a multitude. No one can count those who have, who are, and who will live for me. From Abraham to Moses, from David to Mary, from the apostles to countless unnamed witnesses, all of them chose to live in me. You are but a part of this great tapestry, and your perseverance carries the stream of faith into future generations. My child, do not let fear snuff out the light. Do not let weariness make you stop. Do not let lies make you doubt. Living in me means always remembering that I live in you. When you are weak, I am strong. When you are weary, I lift you. When you do not know, I know. When you think you have lost, I am preparing something better. If you keep your eyes on me, you will never lose your way. This is my word to you today. Live with perseverance, live in union, live as a lamp that never goes out. Let your life become a testimony of my love, my grace, my power. And remember, what I begin, I will finish. You only need to keep walking, no rushing, no panic, for I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. When you live in me, your end is surely glory. My beloved, the three gifts I have given you, believe, receive, and live, are not three separate fragments, but a sacred triangle, a perfect circle. Each has its own value on its own, but when all three interweave, they form an unmatched power, able to shake every chain, break every limit, and open a life far beyond your imagination. My child, think of faith as the root. Without roots, the tree cannot stand, cannot draw life. But roots alone are not enough. They need good soil and water to nourish. That is receiving. When you open your heart to receive, the seed of faith finds a place to take root and grow. And only when the tree rises above the ground, spreads its shade, and bears fruit, does it truly fulfill its purpose, that is living. Believe is the beginning, receive is the foundation, and live is the result. When these three unite, you have a complete circle of spiritual life. Imagine if you have faith but do not receive, your faith remains only theory. You believe that I bless, but you do not reach out your hand, and so the blessing stays at the door. If you believe and receive, but do not live, the blessing bears no fruit. It is like a seed sown in a pot, and then forgotten, never flowering. But if you believe, receive, and live, everything changes. Faith is no longer an idea, but a living reality, spreading and multiplying. I want you to understand that true power does not lie in each part alone, but in unity. When you believe, you open the door of your mind. When you receive, you open the door of your soul. When you live, you open the door of the world around you. And when all three doors are open, my light floods in, leaving no room for darkness. This is the power that transforms not only one life, but also a family, a generation, a people. Look at the history of faith. Abraham believed my word, but he did not stop there. He received a new identity, received the promise, and then he lived as one called, ready to leave his homeland and walk after my voice. Mary believed the angel's message, But she also received grace, and then she lived fully for the mission of bringing forth the Savior. Peter believed in my son, he received a new calling, and then he lived as a pillar of the early church. You see, the power does not rest in one step, but in the unity of all three. My child, there are moments when you feel weak, when you think that even believing is already too hard. But I declare to you, I will not let you walk this journey alone. It is my Spirit who brings the three together. He strengthens your faith. He opens your heart to receive. He leads you to live fully. You do not need to strain to finish it by yourself. You only need to be willing, and the Spirit will do the rest. Now picture a river. Faith is like the spring high upon the mountain. Receiving is the stream that flows beneath the ground, gathering the waters. But without life, that river would remain only potential. When it pours out, watering the fields, bringing life everywhere, then its true power is revealed. Faith, receiving, and living, these three combine like the source, the flow, and the river. When they become one, they create a strength that nothing can withstand. When these three unite, they also break every assault of the enemy. The evil one may strike at your faith with doubt, but when you receive, your faith is strengthened. He may attack your receiving with guilt, but when you live fully, the evidence of grace silences him. He may strike at your life with trials, but when you believe and receive, you stand firm, unshaken. This triangle becomes the fortress that guards you against every scheme. Tomorrow night will be the moment when I desire to unite these three within your family. Perhaps in the past you have believed but dared not receive, or you have received but not lived fully, or you have lived in your own way yet without faith. But now I call you into completeness. Believe me not only with your mind but with your whole heart. Receive me not merely as an idea, but as the very essence of life. And live for me not only in spiritual moments, but in the ordinary days of your life. My child, when these three are joined, they will not only transform the atmosphere in your household, but also open a new season for your descendants. Old curses will be broken, generational chains shattered, and dreams once dead will rise again. Not because you are strong enough, but because you have stepped into the sacred circle where faith, receiving, and life flow as one. This is my word for you. Enter into the unity of believe, receive, live. Do not let any of these be separated. When you do this, you will see a strength nothing can resist. You will see light flooding the places where darkness once reigned. You will see the river of grace flowing without end. And you will know that I, your God, am working in every detail of your life, my beloved. When faith, receiving, and life are woven together, a holy eruption takes place. No longer fragments, but a single harmony, resounding through heaven and earth. Faith ignites, receiving fills, and life overflows. Three rhythms, joined like drum lyre and voice blending into one symphony. With only one note, the sound remains simple. But when all three rise together, the heavens tremble. Many stop at believing, and they have a good beginning. They believe I can work wonders. They believe I have power. They believe I love. Yet if they do not open their hearts to receive, that faith is like a seed cast on stone. It exists, but never takes root. Others believe and receive, truly moved, truly filled. But they do not step out to live, so the seed is buried and never blooms. I do not want you to stop at any of these steps. I want you to enter the fullness, believe, receive, and live. Picture a lamp filled with oil. Faith is the wick, receiving is the oil, and life is the flame. Without the wick, the oil cannot burn. Without the oil, the wick will be consumed. Without the flame, all remains lifeless. But when the three unite, light bursts forth, illuminating the whole room. You are that lamp. Faith is your foundation. Receiving is your supply, and life turns it all into radiant light. My child, when these three intertwine, transformation does not only unfold within you, but spreads into every corner of your life. Your family will feel a new atmosphere. Conversations once tense will now be infused with peace. Old wounds will be soothed by the stream of forgiveness. Forgotten dreams will be awakened like embers, rekindled from ashes. For believe, receive, live never acts only upon the individual, but always carries a communal power. I have seen generations who spoke belief with their lips, but did not open their hearts to receive, and so their faith became formality. I have also seen those who received blessings but refused to live fully, and thus grace remained locked within the inner room, never flowing out. Yet when one person believes, receives, and lives, an entire city can be changed, an entire people can be touched. This is the explosive strength of the three united. Look at the early church. The disciples believed the words of my Son. They received the fullness of the Spirit at Pentecost, and then they lived holy, preaching, praying, sharing their possessions, loving one another. As a result, Jerusalem was shaken, and thousands turned back. You see, when these three unite, the power is not merely enough to steady a single heart, but enough to transform an entire community. When the three intersect, the lies of the enemy are driven out. By believing, you shatter the darkness of doubt. By receiving, you break the weight of unworthiness. By living, you destroy apathy and helplessness. These three waves combine to form a spiritual earthquake that makes the powers of darkness tremble. The enemy may resist one strand, but he cannot resist the three when they are woven as one within your life. Remember also, the strength of this unity lies in its unbroken flow. When you believe, you open the way for yourself. When you receive it, you are filled. When you live, you give it to others. And as they behold it, they too believe, then receive, then live. Thus, a widening circle forms, spreading fire. This is how the gospel moves through the generations, not only by words proclaimed, but by the living fusion of believe, receive, live in each person. I want you to understand that this unity is itself the most powerful testimony to the world. They may argue over doctrine, they may dispute theories, but they cannot deny a life transformed. When they see you believing in adversity, receiving in weakness, and living fully in love, they cannot deny that there is a true and living God at work. This is the evidence the world needs. Tomorrow night, I will use these three to display my power. You have believed through tears, you have received in prayer. Now it is time to live fully in reality. As you do this, the atmosphere of your home will change. Reconciliation will begin not by hiding, but by facing the truth. Laughter will return, not forced laughter, but the true joy of the Spirit. And from your household, light will go out, touching generations beyond. My beloved, this is my word for you today. Let faith, receiving, and living be woven into one. Do not separate them. Do not choose only one part, but step into fullness. For when these three intersect, you will see a power burst forth that nothing can restrain, the power of my kingdom manifest in the midst of the earth. Child, there are moments when you burn bright in faith. There are hours when you overflow with grace. There are days when you live strong in my love. But I do not call you to live only in brief bursts of brilliance that fade. I call you to make it your daily rhythm, an unbroken flow, not dependent on feelings or circumstances. I do not only want you to meet me in special hours of prayer, but to walk with me in every moment of ordinary life. My child, when these three converge, transformation does not remain only within you, but flows into every part of your life. Your family will sense a new atmosphere. Conversations once strained will be filled with peace. Old wounds will be healed by the stream of forgiveness. Forgotten dreams will rise again like flames rekindled from ashes. For believe, receive, live never works only in an individual, but always carries the power to touch a community. I have seen generations who confessed belief with their lips, but never opened their hearts to receive, and so their faith grew hollow and became mere form. I have also seen those who received blessings but refused to live them out, and thus grace was locked away in a hidden chamber, unable to flow forth. Yet when one person believes, receives, and lives, an entire city can be stirred, an entire people transformed. This is the erupting power of the three united. Consider the early church. The disciples believed the words of my Son. They received the fullness of the Spirit on the day of Pentecost, and then they lived holy, preaching, praying, sharing their goods, and loving one another. As a result, Jerusalem was shaken, and thousands turned back. You see, when these three are joined, the strength is not only enough to steady one heart, but to renew an entire community. When the three are woven together, every deception of the enemy is overthrown. By believing, you pierce through the darkness of doubt. By receiving, you break the weight of unworthiness. By living, you overthrow apathy and helplessness. These three waves unite to form a spiritual quake that makes the powers of darkness tremble. The enemy may resist one strand, but he cannot withstand all three when they are bound as one in your life. Remember, too, the strength of this unity lies in its continual flow. When you believe, you open the way for yourself. When you receive it, you are filled. When you live, you pour out to others. And as they behold it, they too believe, then receive, then live. So the circle widens, the fire spreads. This is how the gospel moves through generations, not only by words proclaimed, but by the living witness of believe, receive, live in each soul. I want you to know that this unity itself is the most powerful testimony to the world. They may argue doctrine, they may dispute theories, but they cannot deny a life transformed. When they see you believing in trial, receiving in weakness, and living fully in love, they cannot deny that there is a living God at work. This is the witness the world longs for. Tomorrow night I will use these three to reveal my power. You have believed through tears, you have received in prayer. Now it is time to live fully in reality. As you do, the atmosphere of your household will change. Reconciliation will begin not by covering up, but by facing the truth. Laughter will return, not forced laughter, but the true joy of the Spirit. And from your home light will go forth, touching generations beyond. My beloved, this is my word for you today. Let faith, receiving, and living be woven into one. Do not separate them. Do not choose only in part, but step into fullness. For when these three unite, you will see a power break forth that nothing can restrain, the very power of my kingdom manifest upon the earth. Child, there are moments when you blaze bright in faith, hours when you overflow with grace, days when you walk strong in my love. But I do not call you to live only in bursts that fade away. I call you to make this your daily rhythm, a ceaseless flow, unbroken, not dependent on feelings or circumstance. I do not desire you to meet me only in special hours of prayer, but to walk with me in every moment of ordinary life. My child, I see the small efforts you make. Every time you hold back an angry word and choose patience, you are practicing faith. Every time you forgive instead of feeding resentment, you are receiving my love and letting it flow through you. Every time you choose to do good even when no one praises you, you are living in my light. You think these things are small, but in my eyes they are jewels laid into the foundation of your life. You do not need to do something grand to prove you belong to me. You only need to be faithful in the little things, for I myself will turn them into great fruit. Sometimes you worry that you do not have enough time or strength to pray or read my word for long, but I tell you, do not despise the brief moments you offer me with a sincere heart. A single breath of prayer, a whispered word of thanks, a pause to remember me, all are precious. Just as drops of water can fill a reservoir, so each small moment you turn your heart toward me fills your soul. I do not look for a display. I look for a heart that returns. My child, when you bring daily practice into your family, you will see transformation. A short prayer before a meal can plant in your children the habit of gratitude. A hug instead of anger can heal a long-standing wound. A smile in a tense moment can lift a heavy atmosphere. Your family does not have to be perfect to be a place where I dwell. It only needs to make room for me to be invited in. And when I am present, I myself will heal, mend, and renew all things. In your work as well, let daily practice become a way of life. Do not work only out of duty, but as an offering to me. When you are honest in the unseen things, I see you. When you give your best effort in the small tasks, I will cause them to yield great results. Do not think that obedience matters only in the church. It is in the workplace, in how you treat others, in how you keep your word, in how you labor with gratitude. All these are notes in the hymn you lift to me. In the community, your daily practice will shine like a lamp. People may debate doctrine, but they cannot deny a life of love. When you choose to help the weak, when you listen to the lonely, when you show mercy instead of judgment, you are letting my life flow outward. Do not despise a small act of kindness, for it can become the soil in which a life is transformed. And sometimes, a single word of encouragement from you is the very answer to someone's hidden prayer. Even within your own heart, daily practice must be nurtured. There are hidden battles no one sees: anxiety, fear, guilt, temptation. I want you to practice, believe, receive, live right in the midst of those battles. When anxiety comes, believe that I hold authority. When guilt attacks, receive my word that you are loved and redeemed. When temptation pulls you away, live in the choice of obedience, even when you feel weak. It is in those moments that the power of daily practice is most clearly revealed. My child, I know there are days you fail, days you feel you cannot keep this rhythm, but do not be afraid. I do not look for perfection. I look for faithfulness. Every time you fall and rise again, you grow stronger. Every time you return after wandering, I draw you closer. Daily practice does not mean you always succeed. It means you never stop returning. And I promise you, every time you return, I receive you with unchanging love. This is what I want you to remember. Daily practice is not to prove something to me, but to let you live in fullness of life. It keeps your soul rooted in the living water. It turns each ordinary moment into something holy. It steadies you when storms come. You do not live each day alone. I am with you every hour, every minute, every breath. And when you choose to keep this sacred rhythm, you will discover that I am walking with you on every small path of daily life. My beloved, you have heard and understood that daily practice is not a heavy duty, but the lifeblood of your soul. Yet I know your heart sometimes wavers and you still wonder, how can I keep this rhythm in a world full of distractions? My child, the secret is not in doing more, but in returning to me more. Each time you are swept away, come back. Each time you forget, remember again. Each time you are weak, breathe a prayer. It is this continual returning that keeps you standing, not a flawless record without stumbles. My child, daily practice is how you grow deep roots in me. Like a tree whose hidden roots determine its strength, so the unseen life you build with me each day keeps you from being uprooted when storms come. Do not seek only the moments of glory before others. Be faithful in sowing in secret. When you open the scriptures in your room, when you whisper prayers at night, when you offer your tears and your small joys, all these feed your spiritual roots. And I promise you, when the season of storm arrives, those roots will keep you from falling. Remember, daily practice is not only for your benefit, but for those around you. A life steadfast in me leaves an imprint on your children, your family, your friends, even strangers. They may never hear you preach, but they will see the peace in how you live. They may never read the scriptures, but they will see my word written in your life. And that life becomes a living letter, a witness that no argument can refute. My child, I know there are days you feel too exhausted to do anything. I do not blame you when you are weary. I do not demand you always be strong. On those days, daily practice may be nothing more than sitting down and saying, "Lord, today I am weak. Please be with me." That alone is enough. Do not think I only accept strong, fervent prayers. I treasure even your sighs, your tears, the moments you do not know what to say except in silence. To me, that is also practice, because in that moment you have chosen to turn back to me instead of turning away. My beloved child, I am calling you to look at each day with new eyes. Do not see a day merely as a string of tasks to complete. See it as a gift from me, an opportunity to walk with me. When you begin a new day with gratitude, you have already offered it to me. When you close the old day in surrender, you have already placed it in my keeping. And between those two moments, every action, every thought, every choice can become a way of worshiping me. You can worship me as you wash the dishes with a grateful heart. You can worship me as you work diligently. You can worship me as you sit in silence, watch a sunset, and remember that I am the Creator. You need not wait for a great festival. Every day can become a holy day when you give it to me. My child, daily practice is the bridge between promise and fulfillment. You have received many promises from me, but they do not always become reality at once. In the waiting, your daily practice keeps your lamp from going out. It is like the wise virgins in the parable who always kept oil ready in their lamps so that when the bridegroom came, they were prepared. Your practice is the way you store the oil. You may not yet see my promises taking shape, but as you continue to believe, to receive, to live, your lamp will shine until the promise bursts into reality. My child, perseverance in the everyday will also teach you to discern what is false and what is true. The world is full of counterfeit voices, short-lived promises, fleeting pleasures. But as you train yourself to live close to me day by day, your ear will grow more sensitive to my voice. You will know which is mine, which belongs to the enemy, and which comes from your own self. Daily practice is like sharpening a blade. The more consistent you are, the sharper you become, the better you resist deception. This practice will produce fruit you cannot yet measure. Even when you do not see results at once, believe that every prayer, every moment of silence, every step of obedience is a seed. One day you will look back and see a whole field of fruit springing up from seeds you once thought meaningless. The people you love will be touched. The prayers you whispered will become reality. And your own life will leave a spiritual legacy, reaching beyond the years you walk this earth. I remind you, daily practice is not a race to reach the finish quickly, but a journey of walking with me one day at a time. Do not compare your pace to someone else's. Do not think you must go far to have value. What I look for is not who comes first, but who keeps going without giving up. Every small step of faithfulness matters, and as you patiently keep this rhythm, you will find yourself transformed from the inside out, little by little, until my image shines clearly within you. My child, let your daily practice become the inheritance you leave for the next generation. Teach the little ones how to pray, simply how to give thanks, how to choose truth. Sow in them the habit of seeking me in small things. Do not worry if you cannot leave them much material wealth. Leave them the example of a life walking with me. That is the treasure no one can take. And from that, generations after you will continue to walk in the light you have lit. My beloved, hold this deep in your heart. Daily practice is the key that keeps you in my love, the cord-tying promise to fulfillment, the source of strength in a shaking world. I am not far from you. I am right here each day. You do not need to go far to find me. You only need to open your heart in each moment. And as you choose to live this way, each of your days will become a chapter in the eternal story I am writing with you. And now, in this very moment, I want you to pray with me, beloved Father, creator of all things and source of eternal life. Today I come before you in humility and gratitude, lifting to you a prayer from the depths of my soul. Father, I recognize that faith is not only an idea, not only the words I speak with my lips, but a living action to be practiced in every ordinary moment. Teach me to live my faith, not only in church, not only in the hours of prayer, but in every step, every task, every word, and every relationship of my daily life. Father, grant me a heart that can see you in the smallest things, when I wake in the morning, when I begin the day's work, when I face its challenges, and when I rest at night. Open my eyes to see your fingerprints in the smile of a stranger, in the tears of the suffering, and in the gentle breath within me. Help me to recognize that every moment is an opportunity to practice faith, to love, to forgive, to be patient, to hope, and to walk with you. Father, I know that practicing faith is not an easy road. Faith must be tested like gold refined by fire. There are times I doubt, times I grow weary, and want to give up, times when my prayers feel hopeless. Yet in those very moments remind me that you have never left me. As Scripture says, the righteous shall live by faith, Hebrews 1:0-3-8. Give me strength to stand firm when the storms rise, and give me a steadfast heart that will not waver before the tempests of life. Teach me, Father, that practicing faith is not waiting for great miracles to appear before my eyes, but learning to trust the unseen hand of yours that guides me. It is choosing integrity when no one is watching, forgiving while the wound still aches, loving even at the risk of being hurt, and continuing to sow good seeds even when the harvest is not yet visible. Help me to persevere in small things until each small act becomes a life ablaze with faith. Father, I pray that my faith will be evident in my family relationships. Teach me to honor my parents, to love my spouse, to care for my children, and to be a shining example so that my household may be built on the solid foundation of your love. Give me gentleness with my siblings, a listening heart, and patience, so that my home becomes a place of peace where all can sense your presence. Father, teach me also to practice faith in my work and daily responsibilities. May I not work only to earn a living or gain reputation, but as an offering to you with diligence, honesty, and dedication. When difficulties arise at work, grant me wisdom and peace so that I will not falter. When success comes, guard my heart from pride, reminding me that every good thing is from you. Let each task of mine be a living testimony of faith in you. Father, in my relationships beyond my family, let me live out my faith by acting justly and loving others well. Do not let me grow selfish or indifferent to the needs of those around me. Give me a heart that shares, that reaches out to help the weak, comforts the sorrowful, and lifts up those who have fallen. May my words never wound but bring hope, encouragement, and light. Father, I also pray that my faith would be strengthened through trials. Keep me from fear when the road ahead is unclear. Teach me to entrust every circumstance to you, believing that your plans are good, even when I cannot see them. As Abraham walked in faith, trusting your promise, even before he saw its fulfillment, granted me courage to believe and to walk without seeing everything ahead. Help me, Father, to realize that practicing faith is also living in gratitude, thankful for every meal, every breath, every opportunity to learn and to love. When my heart is grateful, I will not complain or compare, but will treasure every blessing from you. May my faith always walk hand in hand with gratitude, so that each day becomes a hymn of praise to you. Beloved Father, I know that practicing faith is also a journey of learning to hear your voice amid the noise of life. Grant me a quiet heart, able to discern your words. Keep me from chasing shallow things or passing temptations, but teach me to keep my ear and my heart close to you, so that every step I take follows the leading of your Spirit. Finally, Father, let my faith not end with me, but overflow to others. Make my life a light, so that whoever meets me may glimpse your love. Let all I do point to your glory. I long to be a faithful witness, so that this world may see there is a living God at work in every life that trusts and lives for him. Father, I offer all these prayers in the name of Jesus Christ, the one who taught me to live by faith, who died that I might live, and who rose again to give me eternal hope. Amen. Thank you for receiving today's message. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so together we may continue receiving the living word, building steadfast faith and walking in the boundless love of the Lord. Amen.